Hello everyone. Today we will be studying about module people management, and this is for week 1. We will be studying week 1 and first week it is. So I will be giving you my email address as well. My name is Tina Puri and my email address is tina@scholarschool.ac.uk. So now let's start. So module learning outcomes are on successful completion of the module, you will be able to critically evaluate the effectiveness of a range of management and leadership models, including those dealing with setting up teams and organizational change, understand the role of a personnel HRM specialist in organization, demonstrate experience of working within the team and of reflecting on your personal skills and areas of development, research analysis, and present complex information as part of the team. So, what is people management? So, in this, to understand what is people management, a link is given and you have to watch this video. And after watching the above video, you have to answer what is people management. So, the total time for this activity is 10 minutes. Now, people management, it's about training and development, organization, safety and wellness, compensation and benefits, recruitment, engagement and retention, performance management. So organization have one thing in common, people to make their business work for them. So people management refers to the practice of recruiting, training and engaging and retaining people to optimize their talent and to maximize their productivity. So people management is essentially concerned with how people are employed, managed, developed, rewarded, moved on, let go of in firms. So here is one virtual example of HRM. And you can see here is a simple visualization of organization's HRM system. So you can take a few moments to consider task functions listed under each of the 5 streams. So it starts with human resource management, then there are human resource philosophies, then human resource strategies, policies, and practices. And under this, we have 5 streams, which are organization, people resourcing, learning and development, reward management, employee relation, and these streams have their respective functions. And human resource strategies, policies, and practices are influenced by external factors and internal factors, and human capital management and corporate social responsibility. So, what are the objectives? The objectives are the successful completion of organizational goals, facilitating effective team coordination, workforce effectiveness and performance, employee motivation, data and compliance, work culture. Now we can see the functions. So the functions are recruiting and selecting new employees, training and developing staff for the job, performance management and appraisal of staff, pay, recognition, reward, and benefits to motivate and retain good staff. So, why people management important? So, having a coherent approach and being strategic can offer significant advantages and reduce risk. So, you can see there are 2 articles in which the importance of people management is highlighted. So, first is related to Birmingham City Council, who is liable for paying pound 757 millions in equal pay claims. And another one is of Samira Ahmed when BBC Equal Pay Tribunal, so Samira paid pound 440 while Swine paid pound 300 per comparative talk show episode. So now there is an activity related to those articles. You have to make a group of 4 people, read and discuss both the articles, identify the basis for the court case, tribunals in both incidences, and what are your thoughts on the verdict. Now identify and discuss 2 other possible examples where risk might be present in employment that could be addressed through careful people management. Now you have activity. So in this activity, it's of 15 to 30 minutes and there are some questions. So what examples of people management did you observe? Good, bad, positive, negative? What types of challenges, issues, risks did managers face in managing others? What range of behavior issues and policies came under the umbrella of people management? So thinking about your own experience of one or more of the following: work placement, paid employment, voluntary services, observations of the organization, example LTU. So the umbrella is like examples are given: dealing with employees arrival late, being a good role model for others, motivating staff to do horrible jobs, recruiting a new sales assistant. Now we have another activity, and in this you have to discuss and write down your thoughts. How would you respond to these people management issues? What would be the impact be if different managers all responded in different ways? How might a HRM system help managers in responding to these requests? Specify some key aspects of the HRM system. And I'd like to reduce my working hours so I can look after my disabled sister. Can I start at 10 a.m. each day? I need to work term time only from January because I'm adopting a child. I'm training for Olympics, so I'd like to change my work shifts around my training schedule. Can I switch to a flexi hour contract? Now, what's the people management? So now we have a post-class activity in which you have to produce a 5 minutes presentation for next week. And you have to email your slides to your lecturer before the lecture. And in contrast to two organizations, HR policies and people management approach, what is their approach to some HR policy areas? Like you have to pick out the most interesting feature to contrast: recruitment and selection, training and development, performance management and appraisals, reward and pay. And some examples of the companies are also given: Amazon, Mercedes-Benz, Ryanair, British Airways, Asda, Google, Oxfam, KPMG, West Yorkshire Police, and the Cooperative. So here are the further readings related to week 1. You can read them at home. And now we will move to week 2 as we have finished this week 1. So we will uh, we will start week 2 slides of people management, and let's see. So people management, week 2. And now the module learning outcomes we have already seen in week 1 also. Now we can see that them again: critically evaluate the effectiveness of a range of management and leadership models, including those dealing with setting up teams and organizational change. Understand the role of a personal HRM specialist in organization. Demonstrate experience of working within a team and of reflecting on your personal skills and areas of development. Research, analysis, and present complex information as a part of the team. Now we will see the changing context of people management in UK. So typically UK working conditions, how did these develop? So we have currently 5-day week per 40 hours, and minimum wage is fixed. 4 weeks paid annual leaves are there. Sick pay and maternity and paternity leaves are there. All employers have a duty to take care of the health and safety of all their employees. And so it started from a working life in 1800s, where the working day of 14 hours was there. Sunday was only day off. 2-day holiday per year. Disease such as bronchitis, pneumonia, and tuberculosis were right. Then we have Factory Act 1833, and in this act there were certain conditions. So as you can see, no child worker under 9 years of age, then children of 9 to 13 years to work no more than 9 hours a day, children of 13 to 18 years to work no more than 12 hours a day, children are not to work at night, 2 hours schooling each day for children, four factory inspectors appointed to enforce the law. Now we had the fourth bridge built, which built from 1883 to 1890, and during that there was one incident happened. So we will discuss about that what happened during that time. So more than 4,600 workers were employed to work on the bridge at the peak of its construction. So a work accident booked record all those who were hurt or suffered sickness during the 7 years of construction. So how many accidents and how many deaths in total? A total of 73 confirmed deaths were uncovered by researchers into the bridge. This is different to the 57 official deaths reported by a company that built it. So now we can see another example of Joseph Rowntree from 1836 to 1925. He was a chocolate manufacturer. So he was determined to produce top quality cocoa chocolate and confectionery, but he was equally determined to ensure that fair wages were paid and a high level of welfare achieved for the workforce, built affordable, decent housing for employees, recreational facilities, and opportunities for self improvement and education. Now we have mechanization and de-skilling. By developing machines which require only unskilled instead of skilled labor, the cost of labor can be reduced, the bargaining position of the worker reduced. We have this quiz as well in this, and they all answered the quiz. What are the benefits of de-skilling? So now we will come to the next topic. It's skilled work. So what is skilled work? The complex and numerous tasks, specialist knowledge, high status, high degree of control of work, strong negotiating positions, highly paid. As you can see in the example of furniture also, the skills are required, and this is a good example of skilled work. Now we can see de-skilled work. So jobs broken down into simple tasks, easy learned tasks, low status, little control over work, weak negotiating positions, and low paid. So you can see the example there also of the chairs. So those are simple chairs which can be made by from de-skilled work. So economic theory fed into the perpetuation of such an approach. See Wealth of Nation. An additional resource worth reading on the topic of Fordism is Pauline's The Great Transformation. Now we have Frederick Winslow Taylor, father of scientific management. He is also called F.W. Taylor. His principles are one best way and a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. So we will discuss about the World War. So to equate the First World War with the liberation of women in Britain, however, is far too simplistic. The Equal Franchise Act in 1928 finally gave women the vote on the same terms and at the same age as men. The apparent advances made in the workplace were often illusionary. Many women lost their jobs when remobilized soldiers returned to Britain in late 1918 and in 1919. In 1960s and in 1970s, trade union was introduced. So in the late 1960s, the government and union began to grow apart. Strikes increased, and in 1970, over 10 million working days were lost through strike action, including those of nurses and electricity workers. In 1960s, new technology put an emphasis on efficiency and productivity. Now we will study about health and safety at work Act 1974. So what it includes? It includes like provide a safe place of work, provide safe equipment, ensure staff are properly trained, carry out risk assessment, provide for proper facilities, appoint a competent person to oversee health and safety. Now, we will discuss about the Margaret Thatcher Prime Minister from 1979 to 1990. So, she was the Britain's fighting lady. Her economic policies helped weaken the unions, and the recession of the early 1980s saw manufacturing, the main area of union, strength shrink by half while unemployment soared to over 3 millions. So, employment law in 21st century UK, employing overseas workers, whistleblowing, employing part-time workers, statutory maternity, paternity, adoption pay, retirement age, and equality act. So now we have a very good example, and there is a movie called Sorry We Missed You, and it's directed by Ken Loach. And you can connect this example there with the scenario. So companies such as Uber, Deliveroo, Amazon, etc. have been highlighted as providing great employment opportunities through their use of casual contracts. So frees up individuals to work as self-employed contractors for a larger company, frees companies for some of the HR burdens. However, these companies are increasingly criticized for undermining the principles of fair labor relations and not caring for their employees. So what is people management for? So now you can see here in this slide that there are certain topics of the articles which show you the importance of people management, why it is important. So you can read those articles. It's like, is it the end of supermarket checkout till? Sports Direct and Primark top list of companies named and shamed for paying below national minimum wage. Then next is overworked pilots snooze at controls. And last is DPD to offer self-employed drivers sick pay and annual leave. Now we will study role of contemporary HR professionals who are HR managers, personal managers, welfare managers. So HR is changing. There has been a shift from the primary focus of supporters, line managers to manage their people well, and to one of the delivering sustainable organization capability and performance. So resources from professional bodies are useful to keep up to date, such as CIPD and ACAS. So now there is a class activity. In this, you have to watch the video and you have to answer at least 2 roles of human resource manager. And the time for this activity is 10 minutes. In conclusion, huge threats from the earliest format of the workplace to the modern one. Work is now safer, more inclusive, and better for all concerned. I do worry about the erosion of workers' rights since 2010. For examples, employees can now be subject to a probationary period of up to 2 years. There is a great deal of evidence that the shift to less rigid employment relations has supported beyond employment level, but also eroded the productivity gains that might be found in a well-ordered approach to people management. And these are some useful links which you can use it for the resources. So thank you very much for listening to this, and I hope you have understood week 1 and week 2 slides. So thank you.